Hello, hello. So this one's been brewing for about a week. And the reason why it's been brewing for about a week is because at the beginning of the week, I had a workout, was really good, but also over the 2 weeks prior to that, I could feel a tension building. Something that was making me feel a bit unnerved, a bit unsettled, something that I really needed to address that was upsetting me, and what I really needed was to take the time out to acknowledge it and just cry. So I wanted to do this video because I know that there's quite a lot of people, and when I say I know, it's because I'm being told. There's a lot of people still that fear crying, um, fear that feeling that if they start crying, they're never going to stop. And sometimes, even though I am such a crier, and I love working through all of my emotions, and for the longest time I thought I was really good at my emotions and feeling my emotions, but in true trauma, I I'm really good at intellectualizing emotions. I'm really good at recognizing them, understanding the triggers. I guess the way my brain forms patterns and stuff as well. I'm really good at understanding the emotions, but when it comes to actually physically feeling the emotions, sometimes, like anyone else, it just feels like it's too much and I can't do this right now. Now, that's probably compounded by the fact that, of course, I'm a single parent as well, doing the things to, you know, keep our life running, but also, doing the things for running the business and stuff. Sometimes it feels like now is not a good time. And where can I create that time where I can free flow? Partially for that feeling of if I cry my eyes out, I'm not going to be able to stop. So it's not even so much that I don't have the time, more the fact that it's that perception that if I start crying, there's going to be lots of it and I'm not going to be able to stop. And I'm going to have to get to my next thing. And the funny thing, not the funny ha ha, but the funny thing is that, I had that big cry on I think it was Tuesday. I had that big cry on Tuesday. I needed to just feel, and the emotions were about to emotionally leak and come out anywhere. I found someone that I trusted to talk to, and I absolutely cried my eyes out. And it was so freeing. I felt so grounded, so safe in my body afterwards. And one of my other videos, I talk a bit more about the fact that for the few days afterwards. So we're on the Friday now. I have felt completely wiped out because my body has realised that I'm safe. We're safe now. Um, and after holding that sort of fight or flight, your body is just exhausted when you let go. But that's why I wanted to do this video. That was a little bit of a backstory, I guess, a little bit of a video on, do you really need to do that workout right now, or do you need to go and cry it out? Do you need to feel it out? Because exercise for me, for the longest time, for like 2 decades, maybe even longer, has been my way of processing my emotions without processing my emotions, giving myself an outlet for that nervous energy to flow through. It has helped me immensely. It has been phenomenal for both my physical and my mental health. And I credit for, exercise and nutrition, all the understanding that I've had around, those lifestyle choices in supporting me through some of the hardest times in my life, basically saving my life on many occasions. I could have went down, different paths and stuff. But what I found was It's also a sensory thing. So exercise is a very sensory experience. I'm undersensitive to movement, so I'm seeking movement to regulate my nervous system. So sometimes if I experience things like insomnia, or when I'm really anxious or stressy and things like that, even if I don't have a lot of energy, sometimes the way to knock me back into that homeostasis, if you like, is to move, and to almost move quite aggressively. Things like running and spinning and lifting heavy have always been really important to my physical and mental health. Um, but I've rolled in a lot more stretching and yoga and down to the ground things as well. And on days that I don't have very much energy at all, sometimes to get that similar outcome, I'll use some breath work. Different type of breath works can help to release that energy, or to calm me down. So things like a kapalabhati, a pranayama, yogic pranayama, can give me that same effect that I might get from the breathing that I would for running, say, for example, and get me to release that energy without expending the same amount of energy as I would with a run. Now, this didn't matter so much before I had Ruby, because when I was a fitness professional in London, I could go and burn out all of my energy on working out, go lie down for a couple of hours before going back and doing some work, and then go home after work and relax, and that be the thing. But being a parent, you don't have that same capacity to just do whatever you want when you want. I have to be more responsible with my energy. Um, so I think it's really handy for not only me to recognize, but also for me to share that, it's amazing having that outlet. Amazing having that outlet where if you've got some difficult emotions where you maybe can't access them at that time, to go and do a workout and work out that energy, and it makes you feel better. But there comes a period of time, there comes a point where you directly have to go in and feel the feels. Now, I have to say here, if that's something that is just feels so inaccessible, it's not something that I'm suggesting, Olga, just go and do this by yourself. I personally have had rounds and rounds of therapy, counseling, hypnotherapy. I've got EMDR starting in April, losing track of the months. There's a lot of support and work that I have sought out to support feeling safe and accessing these emotions. And I have been doing this for a very, very long time now. So I can't stress enough that I'm not just saying go into those deep dark places and pull everything out. That's not what I'm saying. Is more giving you that just that, I don't know, through telling my own story and bringing that recognition up, I guess, being like, is there a period of time, or is there a point of time where the working out isn't working anymore, and you're just getting burned out because you're still spinning in your head and things like that. So having that big cry on Tuesday, that allowed me to just, I said everything that I was feeling, I was going through. I had a full scale emotional flashback. So in CPTSD and Pete Walker's book, Complex PTSD from Surviving to Thriving, he talks about emotional flashbacks, and it's essentially where you're experiencing the emotions at the time of whether you were a child or whenever this traumatic experience was, as that person, so as that inner child. And inner child came all out. The story that when I'm feeling my most hurt or scared came out, and then it was out, and then I was like, I feel so much better, feel so much better. But of course, that involved as well making sure that the person I was speaking to had space to hold space for that. So this is why um counseling and psychotherapy and stuff are really, really great spaces especially in the climate that we have at the moment, where everybody is a little bit more challenged, and emotions are running high and things like that. It's definitely worth seeking out that support. I'm asked quite a lot about what type of things that I do for my well-being, my fitness, for calling back in sleep. And it's just really that multidisciplinary approach. There's no one specific thing that I do. Every single piece of the puzzle is really important to achieving, again, even like the fitness goals, when people are struggling with things like weight loss and things like that. If your sleep, your stress, your all these things are out of whack, that is going to make the journey so much harder. So it's a really good practice building that self-awareness of just saying, what do I need right now? What do I need? Looking at the areas where you go, I should do this. I should do this workout, but I feel wiped out. Well, is what could we do? What do you need? What are you looking for from that experience? Um, just becoming that inquisitive mind, and getting really good at looking at all the different options for any different time, given the energy that you have access to, physical, mental, spiritual, emotional, you know, from the whole piece of the puzzle. Today, if I fast forward to today, where I've had to rest. I have taken rest. In part, it's been active rest. I have been going out for walks and stuff, but after the walk that I had, which was a little bit longer than I meant it to be yesterday, but I could, but I didn't really want to stop predestination because wanted wanted the coffee and the nice view. But anyway, I had to come back and recalibrate and go, okay, so I expended a little bit more energy than I really had there, even on that gentle walk. How can I access this differently? And the thing is, with the tiredness and with the anxiety and things like that, what happens with me is, at the moment I've got an experience of armouring, so the muscles in my neck and my shoulders are more sore. My chest is a little bit sore because when I'm feeling low energy, and I'm just wiped out from emotional flashback, which can take a little while to come back out of. It takes a lot out of my body, and it essentially contracts, if you like. So where I have to rest more, I also have to make sure that I'm getting enough nourishment in, so eating enough, you know, foods that are going to make sure that I'm hydrated and satiated properly, drinking plenty more water and putting a little, sea salt flakes in there and stuff like that, but also gentle movement. So I'm having to do, I mean, I generally do yoga before bedtime and stuff anyway, but I don't want to do very much at the moment. But because of the pain experience in my body, that as well can trigger me into feeling that sort of sense of unsafety. So by doing 10 minutes of gentle stretches that open up and release in around my neck, shoulders, and hips, that helps me to sleep. I've been sleeping fantastically, which is good. Helps me to sleep, but also after I dropped Ruby off this morning, I did go to the gym and I did some what I call or refer to as just movement pattern exercises. So getting the muscles working that I know are going to get a little bit stressed out if I neglect them while I rest. So it tends to be the back half of my body, the posterior chain. So things where I'm opening up my chest and using my back muscles more, relaxing the shoulders away from the ears, and getting the glutes and the hamstrings working as well. So I did some very light deadlifts. I did some 40-kilo deadlifts, which, are a weight that I could happily rep out for like 30 or so reps before I was tired. So I only did 3 sets of 10 there, just to get me working into my back and get everything out of my neck and my jaw and stuff. But other things that I'm doing at the moment are just, again, relaxing. That gym session was literally 15, 20 minutes long. It was warm up, do a couple of the lifts that get everything back in line, and then rest. And as well as that, I'm doing things like hypnotherapy and tapping and just things that I enjoy, like spending the time being present with Ruby and colouring and just and writing and stuff like that. So just some things to think about, and by no means saying, don't work out. Like, working out is amazing, it's brilliant, but if you're finding that you're maybe